Welcome back. You're watching Al Jazeera. I'm Nastasia Tay here in Doha. Let's remind you of our top stories. At least 4 Palestinians have been killed after a rare Israeli airstrike on the Jenin refugee camp in the occupied West Bank. This is only the second time that Israel has launched air raids in the occupied West Bank since 2006. Meanwhile, dozens of Palestinians have been killed in overnight Israeli strikes on the Gaza Strip. A popular cafe, as well as a shopping centre, were among the places targeted there. Since the 7th of October, at least 4,385 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli airstrikes, according to the last update from the Health Ministry in Gaza. 90 Palestinians have been killed in the occupied West Bank. 1,405 Israelis have been killed since Hamas launched its military offensive on the 7th of October. And more than 1,040 Palestinians have been arrested in the occupied West Bank since that attack. 210 people were taken captive in southern Israel during Hamas's military operation. Well, the military wing of Hamas says that Israel has refused to accept its offer to release 2 more captives, a day after Hamas released 2 Americans. The Israeli government has dismissed those comments from Hamas as propaganda. In Tel Aviv, crowds of Israelis rallied demanding more to be done to secure the release of those still being held in Gaza. Mohammed Jamjoon reports.
In Tel Aviv, a cry for help.
Free them now!
Outside Israel's defense ministry, anguished relatives of captives held by Hamas demanding their release.
All the countries, where are you? You must understand. It's crazy. We are in
hell.
In hell.
We are in hell.
And we want our lovers back home now.
A day after Hamas released 2 American captives, demonstrators urged leaders to implement a ceasefire and expressed anger with how the government has handled it all. Hours later, an announcement from the Qassam brigades, the military wing of Hamas, saying the armed group informed Qatar they planned to release 2 more captives without conditions, but that Israel refused.
We have offered to hand over those captives who are in severe humanitarian condition. But their governments, they are not serious on that. They want to continue killing our children. They want to continue bombardment the houses.
In response, the office of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called the claims by Hamas mendacious propaganda and said we will continue to do everything necessary to bring all the captives and missing back home. Analysts say the message from Israel is clear, that it won't negotiate with Hamas.
Israel did not negotiate. It was the Qataris who facilitated the negotiations with Hamas to allow the 2 women, the American citizens, to return home. And in Israel, they believe that is part of a psychological war, that Hamas wants to gain time before or to stop Israel, maybe with more international pressure, to stop Israel from the ground invasion into Gaza.
From the Israeli government, increasingly bellicose rhetoric and continuing military buildup.
We will turn this equation 180 degrees. The day of the attack will be remembered as the day that started the final and complete destruction of the Hamas terrorist organization.
While calls for a humanitarian ceasefire only grow louder, the bombardment of Gaza, already relentless, only intensifies. Mohammed Jamjoon, Al Jazeera, occupied East Jerusalem.
Well, meanwhile, fears are mounting in Lebanon of an escalation in the fighting between Hezbollah and the Israeli army that began after the start of this war on Gaza. More than 4,000 people have now left their homes in villages in southern Lebanon. Lebanese officials say that the country is already in economic crisis, and if there's an all-out war, it would struggle to support displaced people. They could number more than 1 million. Well, Syrian state media is reporting that Israeli strikes targeting the airports in Damascus and Aleppo have put them out of service. At least 1 person has been killed. Israel had targeted those airports earlier this month as well, reportedly to prevent arms being sent by Iran from reaching groups such as Hezbollah.